Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 2nd of July and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis. So guys, let's start with the today's video. Today we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. Now, first of all, let's see the overview of the entire newspaper in order to understand that which articles are going to be important for today. Now guys, first of all, beforehand, I am telling you that today much of the news articles are not there. So today is the day that you can little bit relax. Okay, so the first page we can see that the political news has been talked about, the Maharashtra crisis, political crisis being talked about. Fine, you don't need to go into this particular dimension. Already we have discussed the anti-defection law, which becomes an important issue, but this political development is not important. Then Nupur should have apologized, says Supreme Court. So guys, basically recently we have seen that because of some political statements given by a political leader, there was a lot of religious there was basically a lot of communal harmony got disturbed and all those things were there. So in this particular direction on editorial also there is one article. Fine, then moving on. After that, in the city section, students are to be assessed on Desh Bhakti curriculum. So guys, the Desh Bhakti curriculum was announced by the Delhi government, where they have said that the students, they will be taught the patriotic values and all those kind of things. However, with respect to the exam, much of a substance is not there in this article. Then guys, the regional sections, fine, advertisements and all these things have been discussed. Fine, nothing is relevant here in these pages. Now we'll come to the editorial page. So editorial page, we find here the first editorial is talking about the clear signals the fringe ought to read. So this article is talking about that how the sensitivities of all the religions are to be kept in mind. Fine, we'll briefly see this article. Then taming the tiger. So BJP deflected attention from the defection by allowing Shinde to retain Sena. Fine. So this article again, it is a political article talking about the Maharashtra political crisis. Then the reset mode, it is talking about the GST. Fine, we'll briefly see this article. Then recommended a dose of humor and democracy. So it talks as how the humor is an important part of democracy. Fine, we'll see the certain aspects of this particular article also. Then keeping head above the water in Silchar. So guys, today is the Saturday, and on Saturday we have this ground zero report. Now the ground zero report basically talks, basically it gives the people's first hand account. For example, different people, what are problems that they are specific facing. So basically these first hand accounts of specific problems of some specific people. Okay, with respect to the UPSC, the article is not that much relevant. Okay, so you don't need to go into that. And guys, as we have, as today Saturday, the text and context page also doesn't comes onto the Saturday, so text and context is also not there today. Then guys, moving on to the page number 8. Fine, so basically the article again filled with the entire, this is a political page. Okay, nothing is important in this entire page. Then guys, page number 9, sedition law should go. Okay, so basically it has been said that fine, the sedition section 124A, basically which tries to silence the which tries to silence the freedom of speech and expression, it should go away. However guys, nothing concrete has come in this particular direction. DRDO carries out the test of autonomous UAV, we'll see little bit it. Fine, how delisting is a ticking political time bomb in the northern Chhattisgarh. So basically which particular group of people, how much percentage is there, they are doing delisting, how BJP, Congress trying to take advantage, such angle has been provided. Then guys, moving on. Okay, so basically Modi holds talks with the Putin. So basically what has happened, so basically just Prime Minister had had a telephonic conversation with the Putin, and they have discussed on many of the issues. For example, the Ukraine crisis, the bilateral trade between the two countries. Okay, fertilizer issue and all these kind of things. Fine. Then moving on. After that, business page, government hikes duty on gold to cushion rupee. So guys, as we import a lot of items in which the gold is when very much important, so today we are importing, so as of now also we are importing a lot of gold. Okay, now obviously when you are importing the gold, the money has to be paid into the dollars. Okay, and when you'll pay the money into the dollar, what will happen? The demand of dollar will increase, it will further push the dollar up, rupee will depreciate in front of dollar. Okay, so to deter, to curb the imports of the gold, fine, further duty hikes have been imposed. Then moving on, PMI hits 9-month low. Fine, I tell you many number of times that okay, what much percentage index is reaching, that number is not that much important because it is going to change by the time you'll write your exam. Fine, car makers post wholesale growth as chip shortages eases. So we have seen this thing earlier also, that today you find that the car deliveries are taking a lot longer time. Fine. There, why? Because the semiconductor chips were into the shortage, which started into the lockdown 2020. But now the chip manufacturing is keeping up the pace. So basically the car manufacturers, their growth is basically now their production is stabilizing. Fine. 5.7% increase in sale by Maruti Suzuki, not at all important. Fine. Then guys, moving on onto the world page, Hong Kong moving from chaos to order. Okay, so basically what has happened, fine, we have seen that onto the Hong Kong, the national security law was imposed by the China. Okay, and basically this thing was said that it is a criticism, the Hong Kong has always been an autonomous region, and the China is trying to control the Hong Kong. Fine, so China had given a justification. They said that no, nothing is going on there. Fine. After that, moving on, that other articles are all basically the evolutionary kind of details that are there. Is it clear or not, guys? Even in this Hong Kong article, basically the Xi Jinping had justified that no, China is not doing anything. Sign. Why? With respect to exam, much of substances again also not there. So guys, then we have the sports page. So guys, in the today's newspaper, fine, much of the articles are not that relevant. Okay, so today you can little bit relax. Okay, now first of all, let's start with the GS quote for today. So guys, today we'll be taking the quote from the former president of India, the missile man of India, Shri APJ Abdul Kalam. So Dr. Kalam says that knowledge without action is useless and irrelevant. Knowledge with action converts adversity into prosperity. So guys, the knowledge without action will just become a wishful thinking. Fine, it will not yield any result. However, when the knowledge is converted into action, when knowledge is used, it will convert the adversity, it will convert the darkest of the darkest times into prosperity. So the knowledge needs to be translated into the actions. Okay, so this is something that could be used in your GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 4. So let's take now the first article. Okay, so guys, the first article we have taken from the editorial. The article's name is reset mode. Okay, basically this article will be seeing with respect to the GS paper number 3. Now this article is talking about the recently held GST council's meet. GST council's meet has happened recently. Fine. Now guys, let's first of all understand basically what are the basic issues or what are the basics of the GST, and then we'll be moving that what this article is talking about. Now guys, first of all, when we talk about the GST stands for goods and services tax. Goods and services tax, many a times politically it has also been hailed as the good and simple tax also, but that is not the definition, that is not the expanded version. Now the GST, it has subsumed the indirect taxes of India. A majority of the indirect taxes have now been subsumed into the GST. Now first of all, the question comes that what are the indirect taxes and what are the direct taxes? Okay, so guys, the indirect taxes are the ones basically whose burden could be shifted. Direct taxes are those whose burden cannot be shifted. Okay, now what I mean by this particular word, that the burden can be shifted or burden cannot be shifted. Okay guys, for example, let's take one example, that there is a manufacturer and this manufacturer is manufacturing the pen. Okay, now as he is manufacturing the pen, the government imposes the excise duty on this particular manufacturer. Suppose the cost of manufacturing of pen was 10 rupees. Now the excise duty has been imposed of 2 rupees. So the final price of the pen becomes 12 rupees. Now obviously this particular manufacturer will sell this particular pen to the final customer at 12 rupees. Okay, now guys, what has happened, the burden or of the taxation or this tax has been shifted from the manufacturer to the ultimate customer. Okay, so basically first of all, the tax was paid by the manufacturer, but ultimately he is not paying it from his pocket, he is shifting that particular burden to the customer. It is an indirect tax. What is the direct tax? The burden cannot be shifted. For example, you are earning a specific income. Let's say you are earning an income of 10 lakh rupees. Okay, now the direct tax, income tax will be imposed on you. You cannot shift this particular liability to something else. Okay, Fine, so this is the direct taxes. So direct taxes have not been touched by GST. Indirect taxes have been subsumed under GST. GST came in existence by the 101st Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay. Now, guys, when we talk about the GST, there are certain taxes which are still not subsumed under the GST. Fine. For example, the custom duties, excise on tobacco products, petroleum products, excise duty on liquor, sales tax on petroleum products, then stamp duty, excise on taxes and duties onto the electricity. Fine, there are certain taxes onto the immovable goods also. Okay, they have also not been subsumed under the GST. Fine, though they stay outside the GST. Now, guys, when this GST came in existence, there was one article also that got inserted, that is Article 279A. Now, this Article 279A talks about the constitution of the GST Council. Now, this GST Council will be formed by president, okay, and its chairman will be the Union Finance Minister of India, with the ministers, okay, or with the ministers nominated by the state government, they will be its members. Okay, so this is the GST Council. Now, what will be the purpose of this GST Council? What will be the purpose of this particular GST Council? So, guys, understand this particular thing, that under the GST there is the differential tax rates that are there. There is a tax slab of 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. So different tax rates, tax slabs are there, and different products, they fall in the different slab rates. Is it clear or not? Now, basically, if a particular product is to be moved from one slab to another slab, okay, let's take this particular thing, that okay, let's say to be a particular product, it was in 5% bracket and it is to be moved to 12% bracket, or it is moved to 18% of the bracket. Okay, for example, you take iPad. Okay, iPad is a tax at 18% GST. Now it is to be moved, let's say, to 12%. Okay, all these decisions will be taken by the GST Council, and if there are other issues that are coming into the GST's implementation design, that thing will also be taken by the GST Council. So the GST Council meets at the regular intervals. Now, guys, what had happened recently, the GST Council's meet has happened after the 9 months. Okay, and this is a very long period after which this GST Council has met. Now, guys, the GST Council had talked about reshuffling certain items from one bracket to other bracket. Okay, yesterday also this particular thing was there into the newspaper. Fine, now you don't need to see that which item moved to which bracket. Okay, why? Because not at all important for your UPSC exam. Now this particular thing has happened. Okay, fine. Now, guys, into this particular GST Council meet, there are certain issues that have to come, and these issues are not specific to this meet. These issues are very much important into the GST's proper functioning. So what has happened? First of all, guys, the state governments, they had come out openly and they have talked about this assured revenue growth. Fine, whether it will be continued or not. Now, I'll tell you what this entire issue is. So, guys, see, when the GST got implemented in 2016, fine, when the GST came in existence, at that point of a time, the state governments, they were reluctant to join the GST. State government said this particular thing, that if GST will be brought, what will happen? State's authority to levy many of the taxes will just go away. Okay, because all the indirect taxes, even at the level of the state, will be going to be subsumed under GST. So state's power to taxation will get reduced, and the state said that then their revenues might get impacted. So at that point of a time, the union, it provided a kind of a assured revenue growth to the state governments. Is that clear or not? Basically, it was said that at the base of 2015 and 16, we'll see that what a state was receiving in this particular year in the way of the taxations. So, okay, so this particular, what revenue you received there, that will be given to you, and along with that 14% increment will also be given to you every year. So suppose in this particular fiscal, 100 rupees were received by a state X by the taxes, then this 100 rupees plus 14% increment every year will be given to you. Now, this particular arrangement where a guaranteed revenue was promised to the state, this arrangement was to continue till July 2022, means this year when we have entered into the July 2022, it was to continue. Now, guys, one more thing I'll tell you, just so that you have a conceptual clarity. There was even a question that, okay, from where this particular money will come, how the states will be compensated. For that, there was the GST compensation cess that was also introduced. What is this GST compensation cess? So, guys, there are some of the products on which we are imposing the sin tax, we are imposing the GST compensation cess. For example, the SUV cars, then there are the sugary carbonated drinks. Okay, fine, GST compensation cess is being introduced, is being levied, so the money will be collected from there, fine, and that particular money will be used if there is any shortfall. Okay, so all the things were going good, fine. But what happened now, the 2020 pandemic came, and as the pandemic came, the state governments have faced that their revenue is actually declining, and now the state governments want that you had promised us till July 2022 this revenue growth of 14% will be guaranteed to us. Now the state wants that this should be continued because our revenues have got impacted, and they are even ready that okay, if not 14%, you can promise us less, 10%, 8%. Okay, so please continue this particular promise now. Guys, basically the center government into the last GST council meet clearly said no, it is not going to be continued, but now they have kept open the possibility that we can think on this particular line. So guys, you need to see that what government is going to take decision on this particular thing. Fine, this is some thing which has come in this particular direction. Now guys, one more important development, one more important demand of the state government was there. It was to come out with an appellate mechanism. Okay, let's say there are the GST disputes, so for just this GST disputes there needs to be an appellate tribunal, appellate mechanism where the appeals could be made. Fine, so this is all the development that have been associated onto this particular front. Now guys, along with that, there is one more kind of a need of reform that is there, and even on this particular line, just a few days back we have taken one particular article also which talked about the need of a simple tax. Okay, what is this particular reform also that is being asked? Basically guys, you find this thing that the multiple tax rates are there into the GST, 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. Now it complicates the system. Fine, it complicates the system. It is said that you just need to maintain two categories, one category where one tax rate is there and other category which is exempted. Okay, so any good which is not in this particular list, it will be taxed at this particular rate. For example, let's say 15%. So just you need to mention the goods that are coming in this 15% rates. Anything will be exempted. Today guys, large number of GST disputes are there. For example, flour. Okay, flour. Fine, a different tax rate will be there. If you use that flour and convert it into a chapati, different tax rate will be there. Fine, you use that particular flour and you make a pizza. Okay, so basically guys, now for example, Kit Kat. The Kit Kat, it has a chocolate also, the wafer also in it. Wafers are taxed at a different rate, chocolate is taxed at a different rate. Where the Kit Kat will go, because it has both. So a lot of GST disputes. I'm just giving an example. A lot of disputes are there. Fine. So just to keep it simple, fine, GST reforms are also needed. Fine. So that is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, recommended a dose of humor and democracy. Okay, so guys, this is a kind of an viewpoint that has been given that into the democracy humor plays an important role, and guys, these kind of opinions, fine, could be used to substantiate your essays. Okay, so in the essay this particular dimension could be used. Now this what the article is talking about. Article says that the humor, without the humor democracy cannot thrive. Okay, it says that, see, basically seriousness is the attribute or the quality of a totalitarian state. In a totalitarian state, fine, and in a totalitarian state, the rulers want that the people should give them complete allegiance. People should not question, people should not speak out their mind. So the silence and seriousness, it is a quality of a totalitarian state. However, democracy, it thrives on humor, it thrives on discussions and all such kind of things. It has been said that actually humor is capable of inducing light-hearted moments. Okay, even basically it has been said that even when we talk about the Gandhiji says this particular thing that if I had no sense of humor, I would long have committed suicide. Now it is being said that actually when we talk about the India right now, into the India, anybody questioning anything, anybody basically going for the humor, it is being seen as they are anti-national. It is being seen that they are doing something which goes against the democratic norms, but it is not the correct thing. Is it clear or not? So this darkness that has come into the democracy, this darkness is not wanted. It has been written into the Arvind Narayan's book, India's Undeclared Emergency, that right now India is moving towards a totalitarian future. not totalitarian future because there is a king that is coming, okay, not because there is an autocrat that is coming, but because the way our democracy is behaving, it is going towards darkness, it is going towards the complete submission, it is going that nobody should question. It is a kind of a characteristic of a totalitarian future. Now it is being said that basically when we talk about Gandhiji. Gandhiji have used many times humor. For example, when Gandhiji was attending the round table conference, it was asked by the Gandhiji that why you dress like a fakir? Why you show that you don't have too much of the clothes? Why you don't wear the clothes? Gandhiji said that the king had enough clothes for both of us. Okay, so even in the poverty of India, even in the situation of that time, the Gandhiji found the humor. Now it has been said that actually when we talk about the different political setups, there is anarchism and then there is a democracy. Anarchism and democracy is both the antithesis of the totalitarianism. In totalitarianism there is a complete control of the state. In democracy, fine, there is a marginal control. In anarchy there is no control, so they are actually opposite to totalitarianism. Now when we talk about anarchism, anarchism thinks that the man is rational, honest, just animal, no control needs to be there onto the man, okay, no coercion needs to be there onto the man. Now anarchy assumes this particular thing, that a self-managed system could exist, okay, and when complete autonomy is to be given to the man, man is expected to involve in humor and all these kind of things. When we talk about a democracy, democracy also has certain elements from the anarchism. What elements from anarchism? The human freedom, okay, human freedom, human faculty to thought, human faculty to reason, and in that particular thing, the humor, it plays a very important role. Okay, so it has been said that actually we should not be silenced into submission, rather we should question and we should have a sense of humor. People should not feel offended by this particular humor. This is a kind of a hope for the Indian democracy. Okay, so this is a kind of a good, and I'll say that a refreshing viewpoint that has been given. Okay, and these viewpoints could be used in our essays very aptly. Fine, so that is all. Now we'll move to the next article. Clear signals the fringe out ought to read. Okay, so this particular article, guys, it is just talking about the controversy. Basically the major theme which has been taken is the controversy that happened when a spokesperson of a political party made certain comments, certain remarks, fine, on one religion. Okay, so basically, guys, what had happened on first page also, this thing was there. Now the Supreme Court had pulled the that political party is a spokesperson, and had said that the spokesperson was clearly responsible for all the communal disputes that had happened in the India. It has been said that the controversial remarks that were made against the prophet, that remarks were uncalled for. Okay, it should not have been done. Even in this particular direction, the Minister of External Affairs have also admitted that the sensitivities and the sensibilities of the people got impacted. Even the National Security Advisor has accepted this controversy has damaged India's global reputation. Such comments should not have been made. Now, guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about these comments being made by political people against one particular religion, their repercussion is far more than just the political gains. If we see India has, basically there was one editorial that I was reading. It was said that Prime Minister has shaken the heavens to make the good relations with the West Asian and the Gulf countries. Fine, because they're very much important for India's energy security. Guys, they are also very much important for bringing the investments into the India. Fine, and they can actually fill the infrastructure gap by the investment, by the sovereign investments coming from those countries. So these countries are very much important. Fine, and therefore to pass certain comments will obviously be impacting the relations on that particular front also. The moment this particular controversy happened, what happened? The Al Qaeda in Indian subcontinent, AQIS, issued a letter and warned that the suicide bombings will be carried in India. Now, guys, let's say this particular thing, even let's say if there is even a grain of truth that this particular thing can happen, can you think the issues that will be there? Okay, then the prophet unites all the Muslims around the world. And guys, we need to understand that the potential of this particular issue to mobilize the Muslims around the world is very much huge. Okay, and if this particular frustration or anger is vented against the India, then obviously there will be a lot of issues that can happen. The transnational impacts could be there. Now guys, when we talk about the Indian Muslims, okay, basically it has not been the case that they have just protested onto the religious issues, or when any comment or remarks are being made, they have also done against the terrorism that have been perpetrated into the name of Islam also. Okay, so we need to recognize that particular aspect as well. So guys, now it has been said that it is the time that three of the most visible faces of the Indian government, fine, um, the judiciary, legislative, executive, okay, they need to highlight very much clearly the Indian secularism, as how Indian secularism is the secularism of tolerance, of inclusivity. Okay, no one will be left out, nobody should be left out. Such a message needs to be given very clearly. So this is something that has been discussed in this particular article. Now guys, we'll be moving to, okay, by the way, this particular article it is just also can be used as a viewpoint in your essays. Okay, now moving to the next. Okay, so this particular article we have taken from the Hindu newspaper. Okay, it talks about the DRDO, fine, Defense Research and Development Organization, which had carried out a test flight of autonomous UAV. UAV stands for unmanned aerial vehicle. Unmanned aerial vehicle. So now guys, unmanned aerial vehicles are the technologies which are the technologies of the upcoming future. Okay, so unmanned aerial vehicles, they have a lot of potential, a lot of basically a lot of task. For example, the surveillance task, okay, then for example the seed distribution, okay, all these kind of things can be done by the UAVs. Into this particular direction, the DRDO has tested a kind of a UAV from the Karnataka. Now guys, further it is talking about that, okay, which engine has been used and all these kind of things, okay, what was the altitude on which it flew, and all these things are provided. Nothing is relevant in this particular article on these particular lines, no substance has been given, fine. So guys, that is all about the relevant articles that were there into the today's newspaper, which makes some sense for our examination. Apart from that, there is nothing. So guys, that is all for today. Now you can just relax, can have fun. Now guys, we'll be meeting again on to the Monday. Okay, so guys, as I say that please use this particular time, the time of Sunday that you are having, for revision and for consolidation of your content. Is it clear or not? And in case if much of you don't know, we on Sundays we don't take the newspaper analysis. Why? Because there is a reason, there is a logic for that particular thing. What is the logic? Logic number one, in on the Sundays we don't have the editorial section, we don't have the opinion section. Logic number two, on the Sundays we don't have even the text and the context section. Okay, then on to the third, on to the Sundays, the FAQ section which is there, it majorly contains the current affairs of the past week that has happened. But as we are doing it every day, so most of the news into the FAQ section is also covered. And then the basically news of the political news and all these kind of things, okay, lifestyle related news more come, okay, which don't make any sense, fine. So I believe that this Sunday should be utilized for you in the consolidation of the content. Moreover, UPSC's exams and the questions are such that they ask about the issues, okay, and the issue you are not going to miss anyhow. So that is all about the today guys. So that is all. Take care of yourselves. Now we'll be meeting again on Monday. Thank you so much.